Hi everyone, this is Darcy Blue. Welcome to the Shamana Flora e-course. I'm really excited for this journey that we're all going to take, and I'm so grateful that you all want to come along with me. And I am going to just take this opportunity to introduce myself and my work for those of you who are less familiar. Some of you I know have been following me or taken other classes, but for those who are new, I call myself a shamanic herbalist, and it's a term that kind of took some time to get comfortable with. Shamana Flora was a name that I coined a long time ago when I started doing my shamanic study, and really my journey with plant medicine and shamanic practice has been parallel. They started around the same time in my life, and I started being interested in plants when I was very young, as a 12-year-old, and I read Clan of the Cave Bear, and the main character Ayla is taught about plant medicine and wild foods by her adopted mother, and it just really captured my imagination. And as a 12-year-old I was like, wow, I can go in the backyard and find food and medicine. And so I ended up getting a sore throat at one point, and I looked in my little book that I had. It was Alma Hutchins' Native American Herbology or something like that, and went out and picked some sage because it said sage was good for a sore throat. Well, this was sagebrush, not sage, but I went out and picked these dry, frozen kind of leaves off the bushes out in the backyard, and I grew up in Utah in the Great Basin Desert, so it was very common. Came in, made this horrible, bitter-tasting tea that I drank down, and it worked, and my sore throat went away, and I was able to go on a ski trip with my family, and it was fine, and it was beautiful. To a 13-year-old girl, it was like, wow, I can use the plants for myself. And so that's kind of how I started. I studied wild foods and herbs kind of casually through my childhood and teenage years, and then through college I took plant bio and botany, and was just very much interested in plants and wanted to learn everything I could, but didn't really pursue herbalism until later, when I had graduated from college and I got a job at a university in the plant science department. And I was on a computer looking at genetic code all day long, and it was like, this is really not what I had in mind. So I started thinking about it. I had a beautiful dream in which the message basically was I needed to do something with my life that was already a part of me. It was already inside of me. It was digging things out of the ground and like building structures. And in the dream there were plants everywhere. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to work with plants, like really physically, like bringing them, whether it's being a nursery or, but working with the plants really tangibly. And I knew when I woke up, I was like, I should be an herbalist. It was one of those moments of just like, oh, I just knew. And I started researching where to get some more education. I found a teacher in Tucson where I was living, Charlie Kane, and at the same time, roughly, I started studying with a shamanic practitioner in Tucson at the Institute for Shamanic Arts. So about the same time, I started following both of those paths, because nature and the earth was so much a part of who I was and what spoke to my spirit and my soul, and then to work with plants was a natural evolution of that, and it gave me a sense of a life that I could enjoy living at some point, in the future when I was an herbalist. So I began studying with Charlie, and I studied with Rosemary Gladstar, and then I went and got clinical training from Paul Bergner at the North American Institute for Medical Herbalism, and I had this really interesting balance of science, anatomy, physiology, real physical, hard reality of constituents and what herbs do in the body, and energetics of herbs, and how the life force of the plant can influence the life force of the person on a very physical level. We're just talking physical here. And then on the other hand, with rosemary and with the plants themselves, the more magical, spiritual, emotional connection with the plants on a real sweet, energetic, spiritual level. And the more that I practiced, seeing clients and giving herb walks and teaching, the more I realized that the two things, my shamanic practice for myself, which I only used for myself for a long time, and the plant medicine, which I was sharing with others, they were really part of the same thing. And it was I got to a point where the plants were really insisting that I do it in a different way, that I come at plant medicine from a more sacred, spiritual connection. And that's always been my most, my calling, is to connect people with what's sacred in the world. And it's a calling for myself, because it's really easy to get, sidetracked in life, busy, distracted, and, it's always about coming back to, okay, what is sacred here? How can I make what I'm doing right now sacred? Where is the sacredness in this? Sometimes it's just burning a little sage. Sometimes it's taking a few minutes to breathe and set an intention. Sometimes it's doing a ritual or some sort of ceremony for yourself. So I got to this point with herbalism where the plants had been insisting for a while, but I didn't really know how to, or I got afraid, or the Shamana Flora piece was something I was afraid to share in the public in a big way. But it was always kind of lurking in the background. And if you go Google Shamana Flora, you'll find posts, from 10 years ago where I was on Susan Weed's forum or whatever. So the Shamana Flora was there, but I was afraid to really step into it. And I got to a point where I was ready to quit being an herbalist because I didn't enjoy it anymore, and I was feeling really miserable, and like what I was offering wasn't useful or needed or important. And I went through the Munaiki rites, which is a series of 9 spiritual, energetic, transformative rites, which we can talk more about in class. But this series of rites really gave me a more direct connection with who I am becoming, who I am, and what I'm here to do, and a direct connection with spirit. Like, I feel that connection is so much stronger now. And I've been doing this shamanic work for myself in this series of rites, and it was made blatantly clear in one of those ceremonies that I was given a ceremony to do for myself, in which I rebirthed who I am in the world, how I show up in the world. And it was this Shamana Flora. Like, really, my work is to connect plant people, herbalists, healers, anybody who's interested in connecting with nature in some way. Like, this is something our culture is starved for, is connection with the sacred and connection with nature. And it's something that I've found in my life I've been starving for at times, and the more that I lean into that and the more that I share it, it's so beautiful. Things happen the way that they're supposed to. And I feel so much joy when I get to share the plant medicine from this perspective, from this energy of the spiritual and the emotional aspects. Plants absolutely can do amazing things for everybody's body. And I give out anti-infection tinctures all winter long for strep throat, and it works. And then there's the piece where I can connect somebody with the plant ally, or sit with them in a circle where we journey to the plant. And it's amazing the things that happen for people, and the connection that we all really crave, to be connected with spirit, to be connected with what is sacred, what is our purpose here on the earth. And community, like, huge important thing that we all need is community, and people who understand us and think like us and can support us in our journey, because we're all on this journey. And that is one thing I will just say up front, like, I'm on this journey just as much as any of us. And none of us is perfect, and none of us has completed all of our work. And so I join you in this practice as well, and I'm really honored that you all want to come along and share it together. So welcome, and I'll be getting out lessons to you very shortly. I just wanted to send out a quick hello and welcome, and if you have questions or anything, please send them on over or post them on the Facebook group. Okay, have a wonderful day.